When an unattractive man makes good jokes, they will be shunned as they will be seen as p***ed or uncalled for. 41. An attractive man who is intelligent is perceived as smart. Meanwhile, 42. Intelligence on an unattractive man is nerdy or geeky.
Why are you laughing?
It's just funny.
Do you think it's true?
Yeah, to some extent, yeah.
You're saying I'm unattractive.
Hang on a second.
They said that if you're intelligent,
Yeah.
but you're unattractive, you're seen as nerdy.
No, you're nerdy because you like all gamer shit. That's a different type of nerd than being clever nerdy.
Okay, fine. I thought you were sending for me.
43. An attractive man with no friends is seen as a lone wolf. Meanwhile, 44. An unattractive man with no friends is seen as a friendless loser.
Yes and no. I think. I do think women. I do think that. Go on. Let's see from your perspective, because I know some guys that have no friends who fly solo, but because they're good looking and they're tall, women have seen them as like an enigma, sort of mysterious, or what's that guy up to? But a very like unattractive guy doing that. I can see how they would be like, yeah, that's a bit of a creep or a loser or whatever.
So if a guy had no friends and was unattractive, I wouldn't look at him as a creep or a loser. And if a guy was attractive and didn't have no friends, I would still find it weird, and I would find it suspicious. I find it weird. I'm just like, it's just...
But you can find lone
strange
wolves.
to me.
But you can find like the mentality is that like a lone wolf is perceived to be like somebody that you might, they see them as like mysterious people that they want to get to know.
I think mysterious and suspect is two different things.
Which one do you think is more likely to be perceived as a suspect?
What do you mean?
The unattractive guy.
The attractive guy. I think it's suspicious, yeah. Like, why have you got... Like, I just find it weird in general when people don't have friends.
Really?
And
Some people struggle to make friends.
Yeah, but I wouldn't ever put anything down to looks. So if you're good looking or not, I'm not going to then... So, for example, an unattractive guy, I'm not going to determine that as him being a loser. And a good looking guy, I'm not going to determine that as being a lone wolf. I just find it odd in itself.
45. Things such as grooming or improving your appearance don't amount to much and are overrated. This is because 46. Clothes and haircuts are not tied to your genetics. You can't pass down an expensive haircut to a child. It is an environmental factor. Therefore, women won't care about it.
The clothing part, I kind of get. The grooming part, that's just not true.
Yeah,
it's very, very important that you groom yourself.
But they're saying styling only helps if you're already attractive.
No, this is 47, 46.
Yeah, I know, but it's bouncing off at that point. If you're unattractive, it doesn't matter if you groom yourself or not, because it's not going to make a difference to you being attractive.
No, that's cap. I'm sorry. You are more unattractive if you are scruffy and unkept. You are objectively better to look at if you clean yourself up. I'm not saying that that's going to take you from a 1 to a 10, but objectively speaking, if somebody looks after themselves, if somebody trims their beard or, just generally keeps themselves in good shape, provided that you have the resources to do it. When I say good shape, I'm not talking about gym. I'm saying like I wake up in the morning, I use Clinique on my face. I use that thing where like it gets all the dirt off, and then I use like this cream, like I forgot what it's called, like it's a blue one, like SP something, I don't know. I use that on my face every day. I use face wash. I do it in the morning and I do it in the evening. And like I'll trim because my facial hair grows extremely quickly. I don't think it looks very nice. So I always trim it down. I've always got it just a little bit. I guarantee you, if I didn't do those things, first of all, my skin wouldn't be in the condition that it's in. I've got very good skin. Women wouldn't find me as attractive. It's very important that you groom yourself, that you take care of yourself. That is a terrible thing to tell someone. It 100% matters whether you are a 5 or an 8. And that goes for women as well. Like keeping shit in check is very important. It goes a long way.
47. Additionally, these factors often only work when the man is attractive anyway. Nice clothes look good when worn by attractive men, not the other way round. 48. An unattractive man in the exact same clothes will look terrible.
I do and I don't agree with that point because I think it's the same with women. Like some women who have got, say, really good figures and are really pretty could wear the same outfit as a girl who's not as good looking and hasn't got a good figure, and it won't look the same on her as it doesn't. Like it won't look as good as it does on the other one.
Yeah, 100%.
So I can understand, but that's not to say that it will look bad on them, because when people look at nice clothes, they're not necessarily looking at who's wearing it to go, yeah, that's a nice outfit. You either like the outfit or you don't. It doesn't matter who's wearing it.
Yeah. No, very true.
Yeah.
But the same goes for guys. Like, I'll give you an example. Every single thing that I wear would probably, more than likely, almost definitely look better on somebody like Jason Momoa, right? People would probably unanimously agree. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't look better than myself if I was dressed scruffy. So if I dress nicely, I look better than the version of me that dresses scruffy. I might not look as good as the next guy wearing the exact same thing, but I would look like a better version of myself. So that's why you would take care of yourself, groom yourself, wear nice clothes. Now, yeah, attractive people can wear anything. They're still going to be good looking. But someone that is conventionally unattractive or whatever, they do have to make more effort, but it does go a long way in taking care of yourself and taking care of your appearance and how you present yourself. It does mean something. It 100% means something. Might not mean as much, but it definitely means something.
Going to the gym only helps if you are at least average in the face, for which it can dramatically improve your appearance.
False.
Well, I mean, the thing is, if you're overweight, right, and you look at yourself in the mirror and you think you're below average, you're never going to know if you're above average until you shed that weight. So you would go to the gym anyway.
Yeah, but there's people who say are not the best looking, but if they get a good body, it definitely helps.
100%. Like, having a good body goes a long way. It's not just in attracting women. It's all sorts of things. And women do appreciate a good body. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have the V-tape and everything. You could be a power lifter.
Yeah.
Some girls like those big, strong guys that pick up the boulders. They haven't got a six-pack, but they've got the physique of someone that some women will deem attractive.
Also, if you think that you're below average, maybe if you exercise and get the gym body that you want, it might actually make you more attractive.
I mean, that's a massive glow up. That is a massive glow up. Yeah, the gym helps dramatically. I'm speaking from experience as well. I was very overweight, and God's name was that. I was very overweight at one point, and I'm not saying that like I'm super attractive now, but I'm definitely more attractive now than what I was when I was like 30 pounds heavier. Like even just recently, I shed all of my Christmas weight. Well, I came into the year 170 pounds. Right now, I'm at like 155. And I can see the difference in my face. My face is less round than what it was. I can even when I go back and look at some of the older videos we did, there was a period where I think I was even heavier than 170 pounds and my face was noticeably round. And it does, like that guy in that video, he went from being skinny to being wedge. But it goes both ways. Like, you won't know until you try. So looking at yourself in the mirror and being like, well, I'm just unattractive now, so I'm not even going to bother. That's a stupid, defeatist mentality. The gym will work wonders for you, and you won't know until you try. At least try, and then if you look in the mirror and you're like, raw, I'm still clapped. Okay, at least you tried. But even then, you would be physically fit. People find physically fit people attractive. Even if your face isn't the most attractive, you'd have a very desirable body, and your mindset would be very desirable because it's very hard to get bodies like that.
If you're below average in the face, getting a gym body will unlikely work, as it will be seen as overcompensating. 51. A gym body can look pathetic on a short guy, like he's an aggressive leprechaun.
An aggressive leprechaun. I think that was a bit of a jump. Come on. There's girls out there that like short guys. I think I've said it in here before. There's a Chinese guy that goes to my gym. I think he's like 5 foot on the dot. And he's got a girl. She's taller than him. She's nice. I think it was this girl anyway, but yeah, he's killing it, man. He's got a good physique. He doesn't come across like an aggressive leprechaun or overcompensating. That's ridiculous.
I think, to be honest with you, that depends on how big you get. Because if you're, say, short, but you just get to a nice size that balances out with your body proportionately, then it will look fine. But if you're short and you go too big, I think that's when it does start to look a bit funny.
Yeah, it might look funny, but I don't think anyone's going to think you're overcompensating. Maybe you've just got
No.
a strong passion for the gym and you happen to be short. I think if a woman thought you were overcompensating because you're working out, that there's not the kind of woman that you want around you anyway.
Yeah.
Sounds either like she's got the mind of a child or she's just delusional. Like that's a dumb thing to say. Obviously, with the gym, there's limits. Like I saw a video of this short guy who was deadlifting. He deadlifted so hard that I think his skull cracked and blood was coming out.
What the?
I saw that happen to Larry Wills as well. Like obviously there's limits to it, but I wouldn't even say they're overcompensating. I'd say they're being dangerous in the pursuit of something they love. But overcompensate, I've never heard of that. That sounds like cap.
Some men who are even above average in the face and height are still genetically limited due to factors such as a poor frame and bad muscle building genetics. 53. If a man has good height who was previously overweight, lowering his body fat percentage in the gym can completely transform his attractiveness. However, 54. This is only the case if the man's underlying facial structure is attractive. If the man is unattractive beneath the fat, he'll barely be in a better place than he was before.
I think that's false.
How dare you use a picture of Michael Cole? Do you know who that is?
I don't know, but you can see that he still looks better in the right picture anyway.
100%.
So it's irrelevant.
You're gonna put some respect on Michael Cole's name. Michael Cole is is the most underappreciated. I'm going off topic now. I'm gonna go on a little rant. This guy has been a part of my childhood and my adulthood. He's been a commentator in the WWE. I remember when he went through this transformation, and it was honestly one of the most incredible things I'd ever seen, because there was a point where Michael started getting in the ring and mixing up with some of the wrestlers as a joke, but he was still getting out there. And then when he went back to the commentary desk over time, he lost all that weight and he looked miles better. How dare you use my boy like that? I've taken personal offense to this. Put some respect on Michael Cole's name.
The only difference between a friend and a boyfriend is how physically attractive you are.
I'm going to say false because not every good-looking person you meet, you're going to want to make your boyfriend. It's going to sound cliche, but it does depend on personality, because like we've discussed before, you can take the most beautiful person in the room, but if they've got an ugly personality, all of a sudden they're going to seem ugly to you. And then it works the other way around. You could take a person who's not the most attractive, but you like their personality, and then sometimes you look past the looks. So I don't think your looks is going to differentiate whether you're a friend or a boyfriend to somebody. It's going to be whether you have a connection or not.
But you wouldn't be friends with somebody that has an ugly personality. I think what he's saying is the guy that you have in the room where you're like, I really like his personality, but he's a friend. And then you have another guy where I really like his personality, but he's also an 8 out of 10, let's say.
Yeah, I know, but it's just a bit of a wider thing than that, because somebody could be really, I understand what you're saying, but somebody could be really good looking and just be so dull.
Yeah, would you keep them as a friend though?
Not if they're dull, because you'd
That's
be
what
bored.
I'm saying. The point of this is, at what point do they cross over from friend to boyfriend? If they're the exact same person, but one is unattractive physically, is that when they're put in the friend zone?
If you're putting two people in a room who are exactly the same, the only difference is one's good looking and one's not, then it's inevitable what's going to happen. But if we're going based off of somebody being unattractive but having a good personality, how do they make it out of the friend zone? Naturally they will, if she likes their personality.
No, but I don't think that's what he's saying. I think he's saying...
But then you can't compare that, because that's inevitable, Michael.
So are you saying that every friend that you have, if they were physically attractive enough, you would go for them?
No.
Yeah, that's what he's getting at. That's what I'm trying to get you to dispel.
Yeah,
he's basically saying that the only reason that you are friends with person X, person Y, and person Z is because whilst you enjoy their personality, they're not physically attractive enough to be a mate.
No, but it's...
Are you saying that you would have a guy that is, let's say, a 9 out of 10, who you also really like his personality, and just be friends with him?
Well, this is it. If you're going to look at it as naturally as humans, when we meet people that we're attracted to, naturally we're going to want to talk to them in that way. But that doesn't mean it's always going to go that way, and that doesn't mean you can't have good-looking friends.
Oh, 100%. I've got loads of good-looking friends, but I think when I was younger, I would have been like, yeah, you know, like when you're inexperienced and you're meeting new women and they're attractive. When you're inexperienced, definitely you might be like, yeah, if she was hot, I'd probably date her, and if she gave me the chance, I'd probably date her. But now that I'm older, like I have loads of attractive friends. Even if they turned around and said to me they wanted to do a thing, now that I know what I'm into, I don't think I could share my time with somebody just based on attraction alone outside of like a silly fling. And even that, you have to deal with them afterwards. But anyway, that's for men. But for what he's saying for women is all the men in your life, if they were attractive enough, would they come out of the friend portion of your life and enter, this guy is really good looking and he ticks the boxes as a dependable friend, let's say. Would you cross that line given that they were attractive enough?
Well, yeah,
Really?
I guess.
So you can't have guys that you find super attractive as friends?
I can, but naturally, because I'm not attracted to a lot of people, so naturally when I do see someone that I'm attracted to, I'm going to want to try and talk to him in that way.
Okay, so what he's saying is kind of true then.
I don't know.
I think it's true for most people.
Because you can look at it from different angles, I think.
No, it's not even a slight on you though. I think it's true for most people. I think I'm at the point now where I've experienced some things where, like, I have loads of friends where I'm like, genuinely, like, objectively speaking, that girl's quite beautiful, that girl's really pretty, that I would not want to be anything more than friends with. I can say that, hand on my heart.
But then that's going to boil down to personality.
Yeah, it's the flip side.
So that's the point I'm trying to make here. Personality is going to play a big part in this.
Yeah, but he's talking from the other side. He's saying that you have somebody where you really like their personality. Because don't get me wrong, I like all of their personalities. I think they're all great. I like spending time with them. But their looks can't sway me because I've already experienced enough for me to be like, I don't want to invest my time into this person. What he's saying is that you have all these people with personalities that you do like, but none of them are attractive enough to cross that line into being boyfriend. And what you're saying is you're kind of like, you're basically validating what he's saying, because you're like, you don't find a lot of people attractive. So when you do, they ain't going to be your friend. That's someone that you're going for. But they would be your friend if you found their personality attractive, but they weren't physically attractive enough for you. You just keep them in the friend zone, which is fine. I think most people are like that. And I'm not saying that as like a high and mighty thing. I think I've experienced enough now. And you know what I'm like with my time and people. Like I don't like people being around me very often. So for me to do that, it would have to be like a real spark. But anyway, that's about men. I don't know if that's for other men, but basically what he's saying, there is some truth to that.
I don't know. I'm still on the line with it.
Most mainstream dating advice is simply awful, and it only serves to temporarily make people feel better about themselves. 57, for example, phrases such as just be yourself, just put yourself out there, just be presentable and make people laugh are only surface level and don't infiltrate deeper meanings of attraction. 58, in fact, any dating advice that starts with just do whatever is probably going to be terrible advice. 59, the number of men excluded from the dating market is increasing year after year, and this is mainly because of rejections based on looks.
That is true. There's data to support that.
Isn't it just true. Based on how bad the generation is these days with dating?
I'm sure that's a factor as well. I mean, they're saying that Gen Z are having less and less sex, more young people. It's weird because we live in such a sexualized society, but the young generation, the generation obviously of legal age, but when I say young generation, I mean Gen Z, and I don't know how old Gen X would be now, or if that's even the right term, but they're apparently having, and people in millennials as well, younger millennials, they're having less sex than the generations before them. So much so that there's articles written about it now, and people from the baby boomer generations and all that are like, we need to like find ways to get these teenagers and these young adults to hook up, because there's genuinely a massive decline in sex. There's like a very small number of people having all the sex, and most people are just not doing it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's weird because we live in a time where like people are so liberal with what they're showing off, but I guess when it comes down to doing the deed, people just ain't following through. which is interesting. That's probably another video in itself.
The attractiveness of your face is determined by your facial bone structure and is almost entirely genetic. 61. The importance of facial features goes eyes first, then jaw, then hair, then midface. However, 62, it is better to score averagely in everything rather than having one or two fantastic features along with one outstandingly bad feature. For these two guys, the man on the left is more attractive than the man on the right because he has much better consistency, and this is despite having a lower overall score.
That's probably true.
Yeah,
That's probably true. I can get behind that.
but I think that's true for everyone, not just guys.
In terms of dating, I think it's less true for women, because if you've got a woman that is very, very average, but she's got a banging set of boobs, a lot of guys will just zero in on that because we're easily stimulated by those sort of things. But women look at other things. I think consistency in a man's look is going to play a much bigger role than what it would for a man initially. I think that will come into effect later on if they get into dating properly. He'll start to be like, oh, I don't really like this, don't really like that. And the novelty of her big boobs have like worn off for him, for example. So actually what he's saying is not true, and it's more true for men than it is for women. Like I'll give you an example. When guys are out clubbing, if a girl walks past with a fat ass, what does everyone do? Everyone turns their head like, oh, blah, blah, blah. They even looked at her face. Not even interested yet. But after they've been with her and they wake up in the morning and cooler heads prevail, then they'll be like, oh, okay, not really feeling this, whatever. But with women, I think definitely having more things that are consistent would it definitely goes a long way with women. I think that accounts for everything.